purpose of this meeting is really to review. We did have a meeting. We needed to have a kind of an emergency meeting to put the recommendations from our public hearing into our, what do you call it, our receivership improvement plan. So we met very quickly, tried to go through the many recommendations and decide whether they're going to be incorporated with modifications, or not incorporated based on the existing school improvement plan that we have already. So we did that, and so now what we wanted to do is to bring the committee back together, look at what has been done, and to also get additional input for people who were not able to prompt to emergency meeting. Yes?
So I don't think that it needed to be an emergency meeting. It could have been scheduled at the time of our initial meeting, so that there could have been, so we could have put it on our schedules or figured it out. And I also shared with you, I would think that there should have been written summaries and feedback.
I understand that, but from my understanding.
But for today, I would like to know who was at the meeting and what the notes were from that March 1st meeting, besides just like an iteration of recommendations, because this looks like a document that I'm sure you're willing to take our feedback and possibly modify, but this is a fairly, a completed document. So I'd like to know who was at the March 1st meeting and what the notes were of the deliberations from that meeting.
So
I was informed of it just a few days before, and I was out of town. I couldn't have.
I understand that,
but there could have been one scheduled at least 1 or 2 or 3 weeks before that.
And you're absolutely correct. And so under different pressures and different communications that I was getting, I didn't schedule it in time. So I have to take onus on that. So, and it just didn't happen. So I scheduled an emergency meeting, hoping that I could get whomever I could get to get a plan done and submitted to my supervisor. And then she had said that you have enough time, plan another meeting, hoping that you can get more input. So that's what I did again. We had, 5 people that were present. It was myself, John was there, we had Brennan, Caldwell, Carmen was present, and Paul, and Deb. And that was it.
And Katie.
Katie, sorry, Katie.
So I'm going to shut up after this, but that's why we're in the situation we are in the district, because when we have opportunities for shared governance and input from stakeholders on how to improve or curriculum or whatever the matter is at hand, it is often, and so I'm like sensitized to this, so I'm sorry to come out this harsh. I'm sensitized to this from having, been serving on the board. That's how business is done. And when I was on board, I would challenge people who were having things signed off that implied parental contributions that were fake. And I know that's not the case here. I know that there's an effort to do it right and to do it in a real way. But I'm going to raise my voice when I see a process that could be very promising. It could be an opening for us to take advantage and really do good work together with all voices. But it's just very distressing to have it be the same old business as usual, where it's quick and it's rushed, and that's on somebody else's timeline, not yours. I get it, but we can do the best within those limitations to do better in terms of voice.
I hear what you're saying, and with this being new, I might have to challenge you on that, because I felt like it wasn't a quick process. We didn't even finish.
There were 6 pages, and we were here until 6:45.
And we started at 4.
Yeah.
So we didn't finish. We, Deb, Courtney, and I met and worked on it for almost 2 days, because the district, and I don't want to get into it, but they had other deadlines that they are making us meet. So that's why we wanted to have another meeting to make sure that all voices, we were not going to sign off on anything until this committee met and we had more of a majority. So I hear your frustrations. I've been in this district for 23 years, and I I understand, but I just want to assure you that we want majority of the voices heard, and I wouldn't rush anything through without most of the voices.
For what it's worth, Mary, I did video the whole meeting last time, so if anybody wants to look at it, it won't make any Emmys, but it's there.
And I'm just gonna be, I don't really know how to take minutes at a meeting that we had. Like, when you know, the recommendations are listed, I really don't know how to take minutes. So I can get feedback on how we do minutes for that.
I can take some minutes. I can tell you it's not going to be as accurate as, this is all somewhat new language to me, so I can do the best I can.
You filming? You filming again?
Yeah, I hope. If anybody needs to say something that they don't want on camera, just let me know. I'll turn it off. But gives us a way to go back and look at something if we're trying to be precise.
Anybody else? Any questions? Mary, you good?
I'm good.
Okay. All right,
You're
so,
very good, Mary. If it weren't for you, a lot of schools would be closed.
She's still a piece of just struggle.
Yeah, I know.
I think it feels, as a teacher that's new to it, it feels like it's very rushed from the district. Like we met with the community members, and then like a week and a half later, they were like, okay, the improvement plan's due the 14th.
It is, but we really
Like,
like,
how
we
do
know
we-
that that's the timeline. We know that there's no time. So that was my point, was that we should have like scheduled in advance these meetings.
I think the
That's
other
all.
complicating part too is like, I have a family outside of this that I barely get to see. So like there's, you know, she schedules one and I can't come to all of these as much as I want to. I'm on 5 other committees at this building, you know, and people have other obligations. It's really hard when the district gives you like 3 weeks to get something done, to get everybody that's on our committee at the table, right? At the same time, to all engage in the same conversation. It's very difficult to schedule that. So that's just my 2 cents. Okay, you want to tell them what they're doing?
so what we had planned on doing was to, depending on, we had facilitators. So if you could meet in your group, we provided you with the CET plan, and on the tops of them, it will say in green, whether it's instruction and curriculum. Want you to take a look at those, and if you can determine who will be like the facilitator, and we need a recorder and a presenter, because what we're gonna have you do is, there's 4 tables, so you're gonna have to kind of move around. You wanna get warm and cool feedback. Was there something with it?
Yeah, no, you're good. So you're gonna do warm and cool feedback. Warm is basically your praises, things that you like about the recommendations. And then your cool feedback is like questions or concerns you might have about something, or alternate ideas that you might have. You'll notice that on the day that we had the community meeting, there were 4 different groups. It was suggested by the district that we align them with our SIG goals. So we renamed them to align with what our SIG goals are. So we have curriculum and instruction, so those 2 committees might have to join. There's data, and data, you'll notice in this plan, there was really only 1 or 2 pieces of feedback from the community around data. I think just because it's more of like a professional thing than it is, you know, parent and outsiders. And then we have the school climate and a miscellaneous. Miscellaneous was suggested because there were kind of a lot of things that didn't really fall under either of our 3 SIG goals. So we
fell more under families and parent involvement and things
So
like
if you were originally on the data team at the community meeting, we're just going to ask you to look at the miscellaneous section of the CET improvement plan. Any questions about that? So we're gonna start with roughly like 20 minutes to look through your section, have some conversations, and record some of what your thoughts are on those anchor charts. If you need more paper, we have plenty of more paper. If we get to the end of the 20 minutes and we feel like we need more time, we'll adjust from there. And then after that work's done, we'll kind of share out ideas.
So I apologize as I'm looking at this is not a finished document.
No.
This is a notes for us to work from.
Yes.
So now that I'm looking at it, I apologize for saying that.
Yes. We just tried to put everything that we got from that day into this.
So at the public meeting, these were the 4 sections that.
We broke them up.
So you're a school climate, yeah.
Name that.
Yeah.
Where I was.
It's
Well, I'm
like
fine.
who was where? No, we need to put it.
No, this is just a smart book here. Okay, anything else before we break up and? Okay.
All right. Any
So why don't we just do curriculum and instruction?
curriculum and instruction?
Might need to pull this table
We'll
together.
do school climate, right?
School climbing over here?
Uh-huh. And
Okay.
then
So
we need
all
to
this-
bring the tables together?
All this.
Still climbs over here?
Sure.
Right.
Wherever you guys want to.
And then miscellaneous over here?
Yeah.
All right, so we'll put it together.
Where would you like the table?
I'll put this at this end a little, just so I have some room to scribe.
Who's what committee? Miscellaneous.
Very well.
Are we, do we have too many? Everyone signed in?
Oh, no, I didn't. We'll get to miscellaneous. Right?
All right, so
We're miscellaneous.
second page, yeah, culturally relevant,
All right, so we are the miscellaneous. That means we're probably gonna be all over the place.
Oh, that suits me fine.
I think it's a lot, as you go through and look, you'll see it's a lot about families, and additional supports for families as a way of increasing student achievement. All right? So I'll give you a chance to look through, and when do you guys want to go through them? You guys help me to understand what you want the plan to be.
Right, so there's
Would it be possible for us to get a copy of this data?
Is it possible?
Because you've already got a lot of where the goals are and the ages in the SIG, so it might be relevant to align it with that.
You can get one?
that's going to cool.
Why do you need to go on?
Or it's cool, like, suggestions.
Don't you have a copy on your?
Not cool, like, well, that's a cool idea. It's
Right.
like more, and it's got more to this idea. Or maybe
Is
Well,
one
whatever
idea, why would they, so we just look where it says,
it shouldn't have to.
listen, prior to, so.
Can you send an email?
Specific, so this has to go.
Well, if other people want a copy of it, I just kind of.
Right, just send me a copy and I'll make,
This is a copy of what you're looking for?
The school improvement grant,
Ah, okay.
which is supposed to be aligned
You know how
to.
to email the Google?
no.
I know how to print it.
Well, print it and I'll give everybody a hard copy. It's not everybody has their computer
I'm
anyway.
sending it to the printer. You can release it from me.
I just didn't want you to waste paper.
Or we can do one per table. I think that might be sufficient.
I mean, I don't know how long it is.
It's, long. But I'm gonna do it on 2 sides.
Can you just send me a copy?
Culturally relevant.
Okay.
So incorporate that in
You share in Google Doc.
You can do that too if you want.
All right,
Then
so,
you're gonna have to sign.
change this year.
uh,
Did you already have a group set up?
So be consistent.
Well, myself,
We're gonna modify it to
Cam
where
shared it, Google Docs for Courtney and myself.
And,
So I would have to share it with,
Yeah, if you can send me a copy, I'll,
the books that they suggest.
let me
if I
see.
can open it at home, I'll do that.
Hold on one second.
Time and enough planning.
Looks like Miscellaneous has got the most.
Culture stuff.
If we say
But
this is,
it has been on the same path to implement.
you know, moves forward, whatever.
Very
There's a
clever,
limit
we
to it.
developed a lot of resources for the teachers out there. Curriculum, and it's not just like
It does happen in the
package
schools.
that's been really developed for teachers, piloting and implementing here for the past 2 or 3 years. And so that's supposed to be something that's just provide.
All right. All of
If
it.
it is, I would have to then we work with that. And it is consistent with EL. It's not EL, they have to EL, their paid material, it's not their copyrighted material.
Email?
JBOUT.
Wait, hold on. Do it have to be a Google Docs email? I mean, a Google email?
So to me.
To get a Google Doc? Okay, I'm new to this. Okay.
JBOUTET at frontiernet.net.
And it's also very, very simple.
What those ones are.
We understand, if my fear is that distribution we like
This is better.
This, I said.
Yeah, just the skills, and that can come from the ELA department.
No, I know, but it was hard.
All right, so everybody should have, you guys should have the email.
Got it, thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. I did it right.
My commitment to the school unless I'm not going to. So
How we, like why do you?
Oh, it won't say here, because the teachers don't bring color. I think
Sit down or something like that. You know, they're trying to get at. I don't think.
what's relevant today, right? That I can teach my kids, looking at my standards and choose tests that are appropriate.
Like why do we provide?
They don't have that understanding.
So that those.
They don't know how
Like why
one
you
text
do
could be
it
better than another text for a certain step at all. They don't know what it looks like at the level of giving them a work to do at that level to get the results and the learning that they need.
You do it?
So
Yeah, I came through,
that's why I can and definitely
365
go with
through regular email.
knowing that at some point you want to
Yippee, look at it.
now you have stayed at
There we go.
for 3 years.
All right.
We can take what we learned about instruction.
So when you're looking at all those things that's listed under miscellaneous, you'll notice some things we are incorporating and some things we're not. Those things we are incorporating, we have lined it or connected it with whatever SIG goal and the page number.
Because they're still not that skilled.
So all of these things that are, all of the recommendations that are under miscellaneous are under goal 4 on our SIG And goal 4 reads, provide resources and supports for students, staff, and families to increase student achievement and improve homeschool
I think
connections.
we're getting hung up on the K2, and there's a whole lot of K2.
And most of these,
More like the listening and learning.
basically 3 pages, are all referring to goal 3.
Might say similar to core knowledge, it's very similar to the listening and learning.
Yep,
the
but
texts
we
are
are part of goal 4, the miscellaneous, which is on the second half of page 17 in the SIG.
See, that's the kind of.
It should be. Oh, we didn't change those, did we?
Because we don't use skill basics.
Oh, we were supposed to change those to say goal 4.
Okay,
So that's one of the things, that's good feedback. Perfect.
So on here it should say goal 4.
Right, because after speaking with our chief, and doing this with our chief, she suggested that adding a goal, because that was one of our big things about family and community involvement, that we didn't have a goal in the SIG about that. So we added goal 4.
But it'll be aligned to goal 3 in the SIG.
No, miscellaneous is going to be aligned to goal 4. Everything under miscellaneous is here in goal 4 right now. We just failed to make the update on this document.
Okay, so each of these goal 3s on
Under
these
miscellaneous
pages.
should be aligned to goal 4. So all of these recommendations should already be under goal 4 now. Thank you for catching that, Mr. Boutte.
We said we're gonna stick with that, but that doesn't mean that
Sorry.
we can't, we're gonna get our hands on the curriculum that, you know, we can do some work over the summer and see where there are ways that we could fit into what we're working on.
This is generally about all these categories. Most of them reference restorative practices.
Yeah, I'm not
saying this is a negative.
when I come on, all they shows are the
110%.
books. I've never seen like a lesson.
Well, I went as a community member, I chose to go to.
But it's also have to be all in every single one of these talks about
They did, they
restorative practices. Like, for example,
Samples of them.
Yeah.
So we need to update the page numbers also.
yes, restorative practices.
And Mr. Finch has done, I mean, it's ongoing.
And how we approach young people, what we
Are we past the 20 minutes in reviewing the document, or are we just?
you know, that whole thing. It's not.
I
Put it on.
Yep, we can start taking feedback now. We don't have any.
for one time, they want to see these labels and all that to be formed out in the schools.
So do we want to go through what we think is warm and cool,
Yeah, or just share out and we'll
Capture it as best
catch
as
it.
well, one of the positives is a lot of this isn't tied to money. It's building culture within the school.
Say that again.
A lot of this is not tied to money. So it's just building the culture in the school, which is a positive considering we don't have money as you have had in the past.
It's not the same, but I mean,
Some of it can be addressed through the EWA if you decide to do that.
than any other area around here, okay? And that's what we're lacking in.
EWA, it's that like employee work agreement or whatever that you can do for receivership schools.
A lot of it we can do through EWA, you said, right?
It looks like.
But what they have is not working, right? And that's where I am.
I shouldn't say a lot of it, anything that's tied to a teacher.
We need to become champions of our own reform. We have to know our standards, that we're supposed to be, and know what to do next to one thing. And we have certain things that we have to do. One of those are some of the things in life, and then how do I get them?
Is that like our living contract?
Yes.
And we're not
The town hall meetings that are being referred to here, what were those like? Those were in the school, because they're referring to with school, families, and community. Is that the community around the school or just the school community?
Community, mainly the school.
Okay.
But also adding a whole other level planning for a lot of
You already thinking it should be an extension to community members?
Well, right now it's hard to really look at the community around where the school is, but once you're back in the 19th ward, you're going to have a lot of more options for community and involvement.
So I see.
What, do you have 2 years in your back at your building?
It's supposed to be 2.
Have they started anything there yet?
Yeah, they probably have about a week or 2 ago.
It's been a while since I drove through the neighborhoods.
Yeah, well, they were waiting for all the signatures they needed to prove they had the money. What is this situation with teacher involvement in the community, because I know that's one of the issues we've talked about in all the other CET meetings that I'm sitting on 4 CETs. In some schools, teachers, drive in, drive back out, and never set foot in the community. And for those who grew up in the burbs, went to school with others in the burbs, and went to college with suburbanites also, and then they come and teach in the city, that's a bit of a culture shock, maybe a little disconnect. Whatever we can do to really encourage acclimation to the community would be good.
Is there a recommendation on here that you think we could attach that to?
Well, their school 16 is probably going to be the site for the house tour that's going to happen sometime later in the summer or fall. That's a great opportunity for teachers to go out and look at some of the houses in the 19th Ward.
And the resources that's in the 19th Ward.
And the resources there, trying to find things that aren't too challenging in terms of interaction with the community. That's a good one. And that's one that teachers here could participate in and be that much more aware of what's around the school once they're back in the 19th Ward area.
Or for this one here that says teacher to come to more family events. And right here we say we're going to incorporate some expectations for staff to attend family events. I wonder if we could add maybe community events as well.
Yeah, the 19th Ward Community Association had offered to teachers who go to, are in the schools in the 19th Ward to join the association first year free of charge, just so that they get on the mailing list and find out what's going on. That's something that certainly is open to teachers here also. Yeah, and get teachers more interactive with community events and organizations.
Teachers to come to more family events, as she said, just maybe teachers to come to more community /
family events, right? I'm going to write that down.
Because I'm going to be pulling them into the science fair thing coming up here in a month or so. And I'm in the process of selling that idea to my tutors and other people who can't commit to tutoring but could commit to doing a 2-month project. So they may be sorry they told me they were interested in doing that a year or 2 or 3 years ago, because I got their names and their numbers, and I'm going to call them back. Because the science fair thing is what a lot of them told me they could be more interested in. It's the weekly commitment every Tuesday at 10 o'clock is what a lot of them can't do because of their professional parameters. So anyway.
All right, so
we want to help you, but we don't want to pretend we're helping you do something we don't know how to do.
As far as the PTO here, how many people are involved in?
Do you know?
They have a general group of about 6. Invites are sent out, reminders through robocalls, calendar, website. Information is out there.
of the people that are in the PTO, how many are local in the 19th Ward versus?
I don't think any of them are.
Okay.
To my knowledge, none of them. So one of our goals will be 19th Ward.
Yeah, in the 19th Ward area, because we've.
She's the president, so I guess one of them does. The PTO president lives in the 19th.
Okay, that's Aria or no?
Roseanne Castro.
Okay, I know her. One of the things that we noticed at 17, which when about 2017, it was about 20% local students, and
Oh wow, that's really good.
and they provided local busing at the city's expense or at the district's expense, because they were trying to get back to a really community school, and they're up to 77% local students, and they've got parents coming out their ears, and they've got about 40
So it
plus.
can be done.
It can be done, and the thing that did it was getting that local busing, so that parents who live in the area maybe like to send the kid to that school, but they send them over there because they're afraid of having them walk.
But I think, yeah.
It's a safety net, especially for a single parent.
Yeah. So that's something we've got. I don't know.
Like sending the kids to the school in the neighborhood. Is what you're saying?
Well, there's certainly people in the 19th Ward who think, gee, expeditionary learning, my child could go perhaps to school 10, but he's not going to get bused and he's going to be walking a mile to get there. Maybe they'll send them to another school. When 16 was opening, I'm walking over to school 16 to greet kids there, and I'm a block and a half away from the school. At the end of my block, there were parents putting their kids on the bus to go heaven knows where. And I'm sure that's in some cases going to continue until we get local busing, and we need to get the formula
It's
changed.
a sea change.
Yeah.
I'm old enough to remember walking a half a mile to school in the 50s, but that was on another continent, on another planet.
Yeah, I know.
I don't think that's so much
As nice as it is for me to remember it, I'm not sure.
We ready?
I'm so sorry. I'm sorry. We have to try to stay. I know we want to keep going and going. We have to feel like I can depend on y'all. Stay on the schedule.
That's right.
So should we put a comment about busing? Or what do you
Yeah, I don't know if you got I sent out
The initial one from last meeting.
this letter went out this weekend, and gotten a few, Mary responded and a few others, but we're trying to get people to, so much stuff comes in the mail these days, it sometimes goes right into the trash without ever being read. But we have an online petition, we're up to a little over 400 people signing it, but, we're trying to get the state to change its formula. We need a big stick to do that.
My signature's on it.
Because that's when there's.
Pardon?
I said my signature is on it.
Oh, great. Very good.
Worrying about something.
That's what I was saying before, is they'll have to, when they resubmit their SIG, if they're even able to do that, they need to make some of these changes too.
All right, are we ready to share out? Share out and provide warm and clear feedback. You guys good?
We're good over here. Yeah, we're good. We're absolutely. I'm not sure.
We have way more than you guys.
They're
Miscellaneous.
very generic.
Right.
Yeah, and they're very generic.
Yes, absolutely.
Yep. Yep.
That's not really helpful here. It's like,
Yep, that's good.
You know, like I know I've never met before. And I was just, but again, I'm making sure that they show up at least 2
Okay, I think we are ready to transition.
You're alive and well now.
So that we can have opportunity to share out regarding each bucket of our SIG goals. Anyone want to volunteer to go first? All right, then we'll start over here with the miscellaneous crew. All right, so under miscellaneous, we have aligned the different recommendations for miscellaneous in our SIG goal. We'll start with our full feedback first. Our first one was to consider extending our town hall meetings to the community members, not just to the school community and families, once we return to our brand new building. Another thought came up regarding how acclimated are teachers to the community that they teach in, and was wondering that there's a statement that talks about teachers to come to more family events, that we can add not just family event, but community events as well, so that teachers become more familiar with the environment and the community that they're working in. And then also we had our SIG, and we decided that we need to update some of the language around our partnerships and some of the things that we no longer are doing, so that it's, it reads correctly and it states correctly what we're doing and the supports that are being offered to students and families. Under our warm feedback, we talked about how we align all of those miscellaneous things to our SIG, but it still says that it's connected to goal 3, and we have actually created a goal 4 around supports to family, staff, and our students. So we need to update that to make sure that those things under miscellaneous are connected to goal 4. It was mentioned that a lot of what we're trying to do with those miscellaneous things is not tied to any funding or money, and it can be easily addressed because it's all about the culture in our school and trying to change the culture. And we can do a lot of it through an EWA. Anything that's pertaining to teachers can be done through our employment work agreement.
All right, so we're going to go, since that ties kind of into what we were talking about.
You can start now. A little spiel.
Yeah, sure. Alright, so I'll start with the cool, because so clarification on the whys. So pretty much, they talked about like the handbooks and trying to decide, should we be giving those handbooks out to, like, if a parent wants to know what the teacher's handbook looks like, what does the teacher handbook look like, and that type of thing. So making sure that, we have clarification on the reasons behind the whys. We kind of did an overall broad between warm and cool for the next one. We said we love the idea of restorative practices. However, all staff should be trained. Doesn't matter if you are a TA, if you're a para, and even including parents. If parents want to be involved in, the training, then they should have the ability to go to that training.
Can we add students on there?
Yes. Yeah. So do you want me to rate students and, so all staff, and we'll do parents and students. And then the next one is kind of like a more so a question. So we're just trying to figure out if there's any other social emotional learning continuums other than like IRST that we can provide for the students, because there's not a lot of social emotional help within the school. And we only have one social worker, so maybe trying to figure out support as far as that goes.
We have Center for Youth also.
The center, yes, the Center for Youth. And then this is, I don't know if you wanted to.
I'm the one who wrote that.
Yes.
I'm the one who wrote that. I'm the one who suggested to write that.
And we also have our DASA coordinator who works with students, social emotional. DASA.
DASA.
Yeah, that's the Dignity Act coordinator.
She's the DASA. How many hats do you wear?
Wherever I'm needed.
And just so you know, all teachers should be, they're required now to take the DASA training, which is a requirement for certification. But
oh, now I was like, nobody told me that. I didn't get it.
No, now for a requirement where we have to take it in order to be certified. And then for the norms, you said a united front, so utilizing those common norms and trying to figure out what those common norms are and making sure that, you know, they're all attainable within each classroom, because each classroom, even though that like one teacher might have, you know, really good classroom management, what can we utilize from those common norms to make sure that those classrooms are utilizing them the proper way? Again, restorative practices. And then there was like 3 sections on the rest of it that just dealt with a lot of relationship building and the positive relationships with parents, and making sure that, you know, we are having those positive phone calls going home. And if there aren't positive phone calls, then making sure that there's something in place within the classroom to be sent home so that the parent does know, okay, this is, you know, how the student was. But making sure that there's relationship building. There was like 3 that were literally all just relationship building. Questions, comments?
You want to be
Who, me? No. I think the rookies.
True story. You can tag team it.
All right, I'll start. Please add in. Yes. Okay, so I'll start with our cool. We're just talking about, I think specifically 6th grade, we were talking about the material that they're using in the curriculum, and we were just talking about including additional culturally relevant materials. We also talked about the K-2 curriculum from the Teacher Center. We also talked about reaching out to community resources for PD, so we were thinking of like universities, other colleges, or community, like retired teachers to help with PD in certain areas. And then just changing our mindset from intervention and our deficits in our students and really building on their core curriculum. Because we, like Courtney said, we spend 4 hours on the core curriculum and only half an hour or so on the RTI or the intervention, so we really need to focus on that core curriculum. Our warm is, we really talked about the professional development. They want to increase that 1 hour professional development twice a month. Increase our planning within the teachers from 30 minutes to 60 minutes. We don't do this now, vertical planning. So vertical planning is just like each grade level will work with the grade level below them or grade level above them to enhance the professional development and keep teachers at the same grade level for consistency. So that the teachers really understand the standards backwards and forwards and how they can improve our scores and how they can improve the learning within the classroom. So keeping the teachers at grade level for, you know, more than 1 year, or more than 2 years or whatever, so the consistency.
So what did you say the last part?
Keeping teachers at grade level. So that's switching them around. So if you have the 3rd grade teachers, you keep them at 3rd grade so they really understand the standards and the material.
Not loopy.
Not loopy, yeah, well, not loopy.
Yes.
I like looping myself.
We're working on. We had a big, long discussion in regards to curriculum versus instruction and where we are as a school with teachers really mastering their standards and, you know, even being able to deliver instruction with I think, fidelity and with integrity. So we use that word, like, but just really knowing what they have to teach and being able to break it down for all the students in their classroom. I think that's where we're seeing there's a deficit, and so we had a really lengthy conversation because we do want to be culturally relevant to our students, because we know that that's an area that we've been lacking. So we do want to push that, but how do we do that without just straight wiping everything that we've been doing for the last 10 years and starting new? Because, you know, they call us the can-do school because we're quick to just jump on new initiatives, and, you know, a lot of the staff have been around for a while are getting burnt out, you know, because I'm like, yeah, let's do this, let's do this, yeah, if it'll help the kids, yeah, let's do this.
We're kind of good at a lot of things and not really good at one thing.
Yeah, so we're trying to figure out how do we get really good at teaching.
And then, like Mary said, mobilizing our resources, right? That we need to reach out to those that are experts in the area, because we've been providing our own professional development since we opened, and it's not enough.
Right.
It's not having an impact on our teaching abilities.
And then on one of yours, because, you know, I've been in everybody's section, there's one that talks about school-wide comprehension-based intervention. Can we add to where we have our rationale?
Is that a page?
Well, this is not numbered, so it's the third sheet on the front here, and it's about the fourth one down. School-wide comprehension-based intervention. Can we add that we're going to continue to utilize our engineering society as tutoring interventions for those students? Is
We
that
already talked about that, because what happens is, here's the thing. The push for science and science performance, just in general, not even with this district, there's a huge movement, right, around science and how important it is for our students to be able to, and I'm going to say do science, but it's not do science, right? To be able to take a phenomenon and understand why it's happening or investigate why it's happening, right? All along these math and science practices. We're utilizing our RES tutors during ELA. Why aren't we utilizing them during science? Why aren't we utilizing them to be the expert for planning? With Lee for a year and have him plan my science curriculum with me. By the end of the year, I'm going to be the expert the next year, right?
That's if the engineers are planners of instruction.
But we're utilizing them as reading tutors, but their field of expertise is science.
They could help us with different types of hands-on science activities, you know.
I feel like right now would be the best time for that, because the change from going into the next generation standards, and the fact that, you know, I just got done with my math PD on Saturday. So, like, you know, there's a whole slew of us who are now being trained in these next generation standards. And if we were to sit with with like Lee Loomis and say, you know, this is what we are provided, I would say, you know, we should be utilizing.
Lee, your thoughts?
This would seem to be what the theme of the first annual science fair is about.
Right.
It's about me bringing in a half a dozen, 3 or 4, maybe 6 people who will put on a little presentation for 2 dozen students, 3 dozen maybe, and get them excited enough about a phenomenon to want to investigate it. Here again, it's sort of an expedition. And then get these kids to sign up to be in the science fair and agree to do the steps that are necessary. And right now I'm just beginning to recruit people, actually some of whom used to be tutors, and had to stop because they couldn't do the week after week after week commitment, but could, with some forewarning, commit to 4 to 6 weeks of just doing it twice a week with their own, regular group, pair, kids, whatever. But that would seem to be the way, this is the way
But would
I
it be
read
that,
it.
that
Well-
they would be committed to planning with teachers around?
Well, but let's see how they like the science fair. Let's see how good they are at it. And then we pick from the people, from the engineers, the tutor people who were involved in the science fair, the ones we like, that seem to like it. We call them back and we say, hey, we've got an opportunity here to do a workshop with teachers. Would you be interested in, but let's get their feet wet first with a thing that's got a beginning and a middle and an end.
Yes.
And on the 10th of June is the science fair, and that's
There's
it.
a possibility too that we could have that happen 3 times a year. And then that's all these other opportunities for kids.
Oh yeah, you could have a fall science fair, and a winter science fair, and a spring science fair, if I can find enough people and enough interest. And of course, as that's going on, your teachers are getting more and more up to speed on
science. Do you remember when I was teaching 2nd grade and we had you helping us with the sledding?
And we can make the first science fair happen, because you're going to cap the science fair at like 24 kids. All right, that's good, because what would you do with 48 of them?
Right now.
That's too many. Let's do it once and make it work. And then in the fall, we do another science fair, more kids, more volunteers from the community.
Right. And we could then, if we end up going that way, align the topics that they choose from to what they're learning through their expedition.
Well, and again, I'm hearing you talk about professional development for teachers. I'm desperate to find some CDs, some DVDs that I can send my tutors home with at their own pace, and I might be able to find more tutors if I can get them past worrying about what's this all about.
Yeah.
But all there are is these ancient black and white VHS tapes from literacy volunteers of matronly ladies in New England who are teaching, and you get to watch this. It's not very inspirational. I'm sure you people get good stuff. Maybe it's even on YouTube if I just knew where to find it. But I could improve the comfort level of my tutors and my tutor prospects if I could send them someplace for a 30-minute tutorial, pardon the pun, on how to be a tutor or what to expect as a tutor. Because so far, anyway, I've got people, young professionals, anybody under the age of 45 is young to me, who are loving this experience that they're having. And the education is a two-way street. I think my tutors are really becoming much more aware of the world around them, even than the kids are. And that's good, because they go back and tell their friends about it. And almost every time there's a new employee at a couple of my engineering firms, it seems like I get another application. I've gotten 2 in the last 3 weeks. People who want to be tutors. Maybe they're just doing this to impress the boss, but fine. I don't care what gets you in the door. It's the experience they have here with your faculty and you, coach. That's what wins. So yeah, let us help you. And the engineering world is waking up to the idea that they need to go back into the things they were doing in the 50s and the 60s, where they were visiting high schools and helping to mentor science clubs. And there was crazy stuff was going on in this community back in those days. And apparently it was working, but it just kind of went away.
Yeah. Because ELA and reading became like the #1 priority.
Yeah. But a kid waking up in the 11th grade and deciding that she wants to be an engineer, who has taken the basic minimum of science and math is in a world of hurt.
We actually had our.
You need to talk to them in, middle school.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's where the STEM efforts are happening. The women in engineers, they're going after the young girls to get past this idea that girls can't do science.
Right.
Right.
So let me ask you, are we going to get, for now, this sheet like this is going to be condensed to, with that? Is that what we did?
This is going to be adjusted
Yeah, to
include
less.
those, no, not less. All of these recommendations will stay.
We have to put them.
Oh,
We
this
got
whole
to
sheet
keep-
is staying?
Yeah.
Oh, it's not cleaning. I thought we were scrubbing it, basically. When I say scrubbing it, cleaning it up.
I think we're more trying to fine tune our implementation plan, the third column part. And all of the recommendations from the community meeting have to stay on there.
The way they were.
Yeah,
Yep.
but then we have to, and we try to organize them, you can see by topic, but the third column is what we have to fine tune and say, this is how that's gonna happen, or this is how it's gonna look next year.
Yeah, that rationale for this decision.
So that's due when, this week?
14.
14.
Thursday?
Yes.
Will we be privy to, maybe we've already been there, we didn't.
Yeah.
Privy to seeing it before the final version of it?
Yeah. You guys want to meet again tomorrow?
No.
How about Wednesday?
I am down to meet anytime y'all want. I love meetings.
Are we having schools tomorrow?
Yes. Wednesday?
I'm done for the rest of the week.
And send it out.
Or we'll do it on Google
Yes, they will
Docs.
do it.
So make sure
We'll
we
send it
have
out.
everybody's email. Well, I have you guys now.
Yeah.
Because I sent it.
I got everyone's email. We'll
So
send it
we'll
out.
send it out in Google Docs.
Okay, so I'm gonna look at the
So I
social
have the
motion
notes from.
piece of that.
Take that with you now too, if you come up with stuff before tomorrow, because we work on it every day. So you can just email us.
Yeah.
Ideas. That goes to everybody.
So I also think it's good for you to send the school improvement grant to everybody, because a lot of this is already in your school improvement grant. It's just building off of that.
Did you show Rob the one that we updated today?
Yeah.
Yes, she did.
And
Yeah,
he,
it's in there because
It's
we
got
updated it today.
he,
It wasn't in there this morning.
he said, this must not be the final one because it says, Ray will do.
No.
Because you did not delete.
No,
you
we didn't have time to delete all of that stuff. We gonna go back and the SIG has to be updated anyway. And who knew Rob was gonna ask for a copy of the SIG?
It's my fault.
Now, did I miss something? We did curriculum and development,
Yeah,
but assessments and data.
There was only one.
there's only 2 things on there. So,
I'm not gonna worry about it.
yeah.
So are you? What closing time?
So if all hearts and minds are clear, as they say in service, we are going to have the benediction. And just so that you know, if you have any other thoughts, please send us an email or call the school. If it's regarding the CET, Carmen, you can let them talk to us. If it's not regarding the CET, we don't want to hear because we're going to be behind closed doors so that we can make sure we get everyone's update and input before it goes on the 14th to Michelle Alberti.
Wait a minute. I'm not satisfied yet.
You're not satisfied?
So it's due on Thursday, goes to Michelle. You're gonna send it out for us to look at and make any.
I can send it out today.
If you could send it, yeah. No,
Today?
But I,
You mean tomorrow?
No, the one we got now, because he wants to keep.
Oh, you want this one?
the one, yeah.
Oh, yeah, we can send it out
not-
today and
yeah,
do it
not-
out.
Not, the full one, right?
That is.
This is the full one. What you talking about? How many
That's
pages
everything.
you want? This
This?
is already 10 pages.
I think he's talking
No.
about
The
this.
SIG?
He's talking about the SIG, not this. We have 2
So
different.
this right here has to do with what the community input was.
Yes.
Right.
But there's gotta be more to that than just the community input.
No.
Oh, you're talking about the original SIG grant,
I don't know what I'm talking about.
the original school improvement plan that we,
So what are you submitting to Michelle on Thursday?
this, we
This.
have to submit this, and then we have to provide the updated school improvement.
Which
plan.
talks more about social emotional support services and identification of like a social emotional continuum.
It's an
It's
actual
all that
grant,
in there.
it's an actual grant, so it has, different requests in terms
Right.
of what are the services that you're providing in your building. And then it lists all the different agencies, it lists what those agencies are doing.
Okay,
That's
all right, so then when you-
incorporated into the school improvement plan.
Okay, so then when you have to submit next year a quarterly report, whatever, then you report out on those objectives that are in the SIG, like social emotional.
Yes. All right, thank you again, and we'll be in touch
All right.
very soon.
Thank you.
Appreciate your